Thanks for inviting us in. It's now 11 o'clock, and we want to begin with that ceasefire set to begin in less than 1 hour between Israel and Iran. President Trump tonight making that announcement on social media. All of this coming just days after that U.S. strike on nuclear facilities and mere hours after Iran retaliated, hitting a U.S. military base in Qatar. No one was injured. Tonight, NBC's Jay Gray breaks down what's in the deal and what's next.
Just hours after Iran targets a U.S. military base in Qatar, President Trump announces that country and Israel have completely agreed to a ceasefire, outlining the details in a social media post, writing that the two countries will wind down final missions and approximately midnight East Coast time, a ceasefire is set to begin. And within 24 hours, he says, there will be an official end to fighting.
So that's good news that the president was able to get that across the finish line.
The announcement comes after Iran fired missiles at the Al Udeid air base in Qatar, payback for the U.S. bombing 3 nuclear facilities over the weekend. The president calling the retaliatory strike weak and said no Americans were harmed. On Saturday, Trump praising the U.S. airstrikes.
I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success.
These images show the before and after of the 3 sites. Isfahan Technology Center taking a direct hit, and at Natanz, a crater remains where a bomb hit. But it's difficult to determine damage at the Fordo facility, buried deep underground. And it's unclear where Iran stored its enriched uranium and if it was hit, though the administration is confident it was.
We have a high degree of confidence that where those strikes took place is where Iran's enriched uranium was stored.
The president touting his direct involvement in bringing an end to what he calls the 12-day war. Now the world waiting and watching to see if the ceasefire holds. Jay Gray, NBC News.
President Trump is scheduled to leave for the NATO summit tomorrow morning. Tonight, we'll be hearing from Indiana Democrat Andre Carson, who sits on the House Intelligence Committee. We talked to him earlier today as he was heading into briefings about the strikes. So at the time, he was unable to say if those strikes involved any of the 600 Indiana National Guard members stationed in the Middle East. In social media posts over the weekend, President Trump applauded the operation aimed at taking out Iran's nuclear capabilities. The president also talked about a regime change in Iran.
We are facing increased risks to our national security and a potential nuclear conflict and a destabilized region. As long as the region is destabilized and as long as there's animosity toward the United States, a regime change won't change much because the animosity is so high and the resentment is so great. Now, long term, sure, we know that Iran has been and shown itself to be a certified supporter of state-sponsored terrorism. That does not speak to the Iranian people. It speaks to its leadership.
Congressman Carson went on to say he's been advised by U.S. intelligence agencies that they are closely monitoring any potential threats on U.S. soil. Well, Republican Senator Todd Young posted about the strikes on social media tonight, saying we are grateful that no one was injured today. All Americans should continue to keep our service members in their prayers at this critical time. As President Trump has said, we will not tolerate attacks by Iran on our people. Now, we're going to be gathering reaction to this ceasefire and the strikes at the U.S. base in Qatar in the coming hours, and you can read them all right now on WTHR.com. And now to the weather impact alert. Indiana right now in the middle of a heat wave. We've been in the 90s, but when you're out in it, boy, it feels even worse. Angela, right now, it's still very hot out there. It's nasty, isn't it?
We're still in the 80s.
Wow.
It's 11 o'clock on a Monday night, and we're still, for most of us, in the low to mid 80s. Yes, it is pretty nasty out there. 83 degrees currently in Indianapolis. We have 82 in Bedford and Seymour. Heat alerts continue for the next several days. Weather impact alerts. We want to make sure you're taking precautions from the heat. Upper 70s to start. We will climb quickly through the 80s, be nearing 90 midday with high temperatures tomorrow afternoon, 90 to 95. If you add in that higher humidity, those feels like numbers very similar to today, between 100 and 105. So the heat stress, we expect it to peak during the middle part of the day into the afternoon and evening hours. It's this timeline that really you should be taking breaks every 30 minutes or so, especially if you're doing strenuous activity. Continue to stay hydrated. Make sure you find the shade and check on those that don't have air conditioning. Your pets are going to need some extra attention too this week.
Yeah, good advice, Angela. Thanks so much. So this heat wave that we're all sweating through right now is sending more people to the hospital. Indianapolis Emergency Medical Services responded to dozens of heat-related calls over the weekend. And our Alex Almanza tonight shows us the resources available for Hoosiers struggling in these dangerous temperatures. Alex?
Well, Scott, local first responders are warning about the risks associated with this excessive heat, as hundreds of millions of people are affected by these temperatures, from the Midwest to the East Coast. The first week of summer meets some of the hottest temps of the year so far. According to the National Weather Service, more than 170 million people face major or extreme heat risk through at least Thursday. Here at home, local first responders are warning about the dangers. Indianapolis EMS officials say they're responding to more calls for illnesses like dehydration, heat exhaustion, heat stroke, and even sunburn.
Stay out of the heat, drink plenty of fluids, and check on neighbors. That's really what we want people to do during this very difficult time.
Just last weekend, they responded to 16 calls between Friday and Sunday. Medics say if you're feeling nauseous or faint, get somewhere cool.
If the person is no longer acting themselves or has what we call an altered level of consciousness or is unconscious, they're not awake, that's a 911 emergency.
Meanwhile, efforts are underway to help those without air conditioning. People experiencing homelessness are taking the brunt of this heat. Brian Crispin with Wheeler Mission urging people to plan ahead and call to see if space is available at a shelter.
We certainly have room, and so we encourage people to check our website, call us, come in, get out of the elements.
For Brian, he says it's important for the community to look out for each other.
So there are people on our streets right now, every single night, that are in danger when the heat is at this level. And so if you know people that need help, encourage them to find the resources available. Sometimes that takes a couple phone numbers.
And people in need of services over the next few days can certainly get connected. Just pick up the phone and dial 211. Scott?
All right, Alex, thanks so much. And make sure you've got our WTHR weather app on your phone to help you through this heat wave. You can check the temps in our hourly forecast anytime right there on your phone. It's a free download. Go get it before you fall asleep tonight. It's in your app store. Tonight at 11, the Pacers now confirming Tyrese Halliburton had surgery tonight in New York for his torn Achilles tendon that happened last night during Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Halliburton posting on social media just a few minutes ago with this photo saying he's out of surgery. He included, again, this picture saying he's going to do everything in his power to get back right.